Now, how y'all doing? I definitely want to make sure I did a synopsis of this movie I just watched, which is called Sinners. First thing I want to start by saying is that it's going to pull on a lot of emotional strings for those that's interested in going to see it. Like, you're going to see the whole auditorium moving like, oh, whoa, whoa. Different scenes going to have you jumping, laughing, smiling, sad, closing your eyes, turning, cringing, being prepared to fight. Like, that movie in itself was very much pulling on certain spiritual cores, and it goes into one of the first lessons that I've taken away, which is that everything is spiritual. From the music we listen to the shows that we consume, to the food that we eat, that everything has a spiritual context. And I believe that more now than ever, we have failed to understand that the spiritual and human world is actually one. So the music consumed is much more just a formation of words and lyrics, but it is a spiritual context behind it. Whether you know that consciously or subconsciously, you got to know that you are being programmed first spiritually. And I didn't understand it growing up, but now I do in the church when they said that we battle not against flesh and blood, but we battle against principalities, against powers, against spiritual wickedness in high places, against the rulers of the darkness of the world. I didn't understand it at first, but now I do understand that we are definitely in the spiritual battle. And what I want y'all to do is not just be mindful of what it is that you consume, because I say that you become what it is that you watch. For what you watch impacts how you think impacts how you behave plays a role in the configuration of your identity. But I want you to be mindful of what it is that you consume, because it also impacts you spiritually. And we are in a battle right now against spirits. And I can see it on my youth. I can see it on people that I interact with, that y'all spirit just different. So I go into my second part, and this something that happens at the later end of the movie, which there's important that we teach our youth to have a spiritual foundation. What do I mean? I'm not saying you got to be Christian. I'm not saying that you got to be Muslim, but you need to have a spiritual foundation. Why am I saying that? There's a clip at the end when a vampire grabbed a young man, and he's so scared that the only thing he revert back to is what he has been taught. And that's what people always tell you, that you don't revert back to what you want to do. You revert back to what you have been trained and taught to do in the moments where you're the most scared. And he didn't know what to do, but what he did do is quote that Bible. He said, "Our Father on heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us for our trespasses, forgive those who trespass against us. And deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the glory, and the honor. Forever, both now and forever. Amen." He went in and he said it. And the vampire took his time, but as he was saying it, all the vampires said it as well. But it definitely delayed the process of the vampire even trying to bite him. But what I took away from was that it's important to have a spiritual foundation, because when it comes down to it, what you going to revert back to, yeah, act atheist if you want to. But what you going to revert back to is what you have been taught. In the moments where you scared, you hurt, you don't know what to do, you revert back to that word. And it's important that we teach our youth to have a spiritual foundation. I was born and raised in the church, and right now I'm trying to organize and mobilize my family to do the same. Because there's no way we could combat a spiritual or fight in a spiritual warfare with no spiritual foundation. And I don't know if y'all cognizant, but we losing our youth to spirits. We so cognizant and focused on addressing the music and what they watch now. We need to be focused on the spirit. Have you taught your child to have a spiritual foundation? And it irks me, because most of us was born and raised in the church. Yet when we raising our children, we don't even take them. It's like, how did your parents go about knowing that they need to instill in you the importance of having a relationship with God? And now that you raising children, you have forgotten that. You have allowed experiences to condition you to have a certain type of distaste in your mouth towards God. That you hindering your children from having a relationship. And I'm not saying that child may not grow up to have his own relationship, but he needs to be introduced by his parents. And I need my whole community to go to church for more than just Easter. It's important that you build a relationship with God. Because when it come down to it, you want to revert back to that word. And I took that from that scene. The third thing that I took away, and this was deep. There's a scene in a movie where the vampire come to the door. And I'm forgetting the name of the exact character, but when we get there, he's looking for the young man that's playing the guitar. He like, yo, and he the youngest one. He said, yo, I don't want nobody. I came for you. The vampire looked him dead in his face and said, I ain't come for nobody. I came for you. And what that remind me of, and it was symbolic of the fact that the devil want the next generation. He want them bad too. He want our youth. And why do he want them? Because they control the destiny of our future. That drink was powerful, bro. He looked past all the adults and said, nah, I want him. I want you with all your gift and your talents. I need you to know that the devil's after your gift and your talents. And it remind me of a quote that I heard in a movie I watched a few months ago called The Forge. And the quote says, whoever wants the next generation the most is who will get them. That the next generation belongs to those who want them more. And I need y'all to know that we got to be prepared for war. The same thing the gangs are willing to do to get our children, I'm willing to do to maintain and keep them. Everything they're willing to do to get them, I'm willing to do to keep them. So if y'all want to go face to face, whatever that is, fight, guns, whatever you want to go, I'm going that same extent to keep my child. And that's why I need y'all to have that same type of energy. Because right now we losing. There's a whole wave of media images being shown that highlight and honor the lowest parts of our culture. And now we're seeing the generation emulate what they want to see. And again, that would not have been a problem if they were showing how we exist holistically. But it's not. And I need y'all to know that right now, I'm working in a school, and in the school, what I'm starting to see is that it is a microcosm in the world because there's a class of cultures. There's a class of it's a spiritual warfare happening in our schools. But it's a microcosm in the world where there's a spiritual and cultural war that's going on in the real world. Where those that's willing to fight on the side of the right, which is for God, and those that's willing to fight on the left, which is in opposition to that. I ain't gonna call nobody the devil, but in opposition to God, that we got to be willing to put up that same energy. That's what we say in the hood. I'm coming with that same energy for you. Everything they willing to do to get you, I'm willing to do to keep you. Whatever that is. And I tell people in my neighborhood the same thing. You come over here with negativity, we're going to meet you with what you coming over here with. First, we're going to pray, y'all, excuse me, young man, I don't want to see that happen. But if you come over here with all that in your heart, and you trying to take my kids, I'm willing to go to the same extent as you are. And you need to be prepared for war. And that goes to my fourth lesson, which that you always need to be prepared for war. What do I mean by that? In this film, there's two twins. There's one that's obviously much more on that. There's one that's really much more inclined to being violent. He will clap you. But then there's another one that's more rational. You feel me? He'll have a conversation. He won't go to the violence as the first. I'm going to talk to you first. But I'll go there too. And in every scene, whatever they do, they always understand that the consequence can potentially be we have to be at war. So they let everybody know. Every time they do something, they tell a brother, all right, but look, we bought the barn. They bought a barn. They said, yo, but if they come back, it's on and popping. One of them went to a location. He left the truck, paid the girl to send the truck. And he said, yo, honk the horn if anybody mess with the truck. At every step of the movie, whether one was more inclined to being more violent, one was more rational, they both understood that there's a time where we have to speak, we have to have discussion, but there is a time where we have to go to war. And I think that's what we forget as a society, because media tend to only show us the images of a submissive slave. They don't show us the image of the slave that used to pop on a slave master when they had no option but to hang. They don't show that narrative, so it got us feeling as though everything that's happening that we must be inclined to take. All our leaders, for some reason, being portrayed to be non-violent. And now I'm not against non-violent, but I understand that there always is a time for war. There's a time for peace, there's a time for negotiation, but there's a time to put them hands up in a fight. And I need us to know that right now we are at war. There is no more negotiations, no more deliberating and talking. It's, yo, this is what we pushing. This is what our children to learn. This is what it is. And if we're not getting that, we coming to take it. I'm not here. Listen, I'm not that one. I'm not that one to advocate for, yo, we going to be this submissive. We going to just allow abuse to happen. That will not have been me. And I'm not for necessarily eye for eye, but I am for, if you come over here with all that hate in your heart, I'm going to first approach you, bro. Nah, chill, bro. How you doing, King? How you doing, God? Peace and love. Keep your arm out. 5 feet. Now you coming past the 5 feet. We have to do something. And I think that's what we forget as a culture. That we are being conditioned, allowing them only show us the leaders in our communities that promoted nonviolence. And again, I'm not against that. I'm not going to promote violence, but I know there's a time for peace and there's a time for war. And you must know that where we are, you have to plan according to the times. The times is no longer calling for us to sit and deliberate. We are losing our children. We are watching wars take place in this world, seeing children getting killed, and yet we are at tables trying to negotiate for liberation. There's never been no liberation obtained through talking. That's the reality. And that message must also be spoken upon because we misleading our children. When I go talk to these youth outside that's out guns and all, I say, yo, I'm not telling y'all shouldn't have guns. But I am talking about the way in which you go about using it. I need you to know that you don't always supposed to pull your trigger. Sometimes you need to talk. Sometimes you need to use your hands. But know that you need to plan according to the times because black people have the right to bear arms too. The conversation about guns always changes when it's time for us to bear arms and practice our amendments. So I never encourage youth to say, yo, you don't need no gun. Why you got a gun? No, I said the manner in which you go about using it matters. You need to be used on how to use that force because you have the ability to take a life, and that's not something you should take casually. But I'm never going to sit there and tell you, yo, bro, you should. Nah, I'm not that person because my family ain't raised me that way. I'm not going to also say, you put your hands on. No, I'm going to say, yo, know when. Because I wouldn't be where I am and in the position I'm going to obtain if I didn't have the discernment to know when it was time to speak, when it was time to walk away, when it's time to put my pride aside, but also when it's time to go to battle. You got to know that. And then it goes to my last one, which is the role of woman. In this film, I got to give it to y'all, man. Ryan Coogler did a great job. But one of the biggest things I seen was the role of woman. And what I'm not liking is that we are not talking about how we are losing our young women to the same narratives that we're using our young men. And I need my young women to understand that no matter how many movements have been built throughout our course of history, history has not been told effectively to position you in the roles that you have played in all of the movements that have been organized. That every movement had women as its organizers, but yet they have put men as the face of the movement because I know we live in a patriarchal society. But what I need you to know is no matter how many movements we men build, ain't none of them ever going to be sustainable without you. I never push that narrative that women ain't this ain't that. I never push that. Because the same woman we push that narrative against is the same woman that when one of us die, they out there advocating for our life more than we advocate for ours. Look at any movement. Not again as whatever, not again as you. We look for you Black Lives Matter, Civil Rights Movement, the Soweto Uprising, Tiananmen Square. It is our women that have taken a stance. And I said women holistically, especially my black women. So I never could push that narrative. I need my women to understand your importance. And in its film, it highlights it amazingly. There was one woman that got by the vampires. And she was the reason why my man Smoke got caught. But there was another woman that was a spiritual warrior. And she practiced hoodoo. And she said, listen, y'all, she threw all the demons ran out. She said, don't invite them in. These people can't come in without your invitation. That woman was a spiritual warrior. She said, if I get bit, I need you to kill me. There is no exempt. No one is exempt from this. And I need you to know for my women, y'all are very important during this time. You have the power not only to change a nation, but to build up men and also break them down. But it's all about how you go about using your power. And I said that was my last one, but I thought about my last one, which was the power of music. I talked about it earlier that everything is spiritual, but music in this film played a big role. And I believe there's one thing that has stood time, which is our music. But what our music has become today is something that has not been cognizant that music has a spiritual inclination, that music is spiritual. Because what it is that we are rapping about is definitely not helping our youth at all. And we know that. I know some people want to say what we doing now is not hip hop, but it's being portrayed as it is, as rap, as hip hop. And hip hop right now is not doing the best job on leading our youth spiritually to where it is that we need them to go. And I need us to understand that music has always played a vital role throughout history. It has had the power to boost the morale of slaves. It's been used to fuel wars. It's been used to distract. It's been used to as a weapon of spiritual warfare. It's been used to control nations. And in this film, you see music play out in various aspects. As the music, when the party first starts in the bar, there's 3 white people that are vampires that approach, and they start playing music at the front door, because they heard the music which attracted them. You see later on in the film when the young men start playing the blues and how everybody got into a cadence and a rhythm. I'm not too sure all the science of what goes on when it comes to, the sound waves, but what I do know is that music has always had power. That there's times we listen to certain songs and you tend to drive faster. Certain songs that you tend to listen to and make you want to be violent. Certain songs you listen to and it makes you want to cry. Certain songs you listen to and it brings you peace, calmness. So we understand the power of music because it has shown up in our life to have the ability to pull on certain emotional strings. For we listen to certain songs in certain instances and in certain environments because you want to create a certain vibe, a certain energy, a certain vibration. So I need us to understand, definitely from our musicians and our artists, that music is the only thing that have access to somebody's spirit out there consent. And when you're giving that access to somebody's spirit, my question is, what you going to do with it? Are you going to encourage us to boost our morale and lead us to the ways in which we should be doing? Or are you going to use it as a tool for the devil's work? So that's why I need us to know that this was a powerful film. I might even use this film to go to my next talk, because it just have essential rules that I need us all to know. And it's powerful. So I encourage y'all to go use it. But I had to make sure I did my breakdown, my synopsis of the film, because I believe it's a certain message I believe we all need to obtain when we watch this film. And I just want to say thank you. Let me know what y'all think about it. If y'all go see it, I want y'all to comment below. Leave y'all comments after y'all see it. You can watch it. You can watch this video, take away some of my thoughts. Hopefully I don't sway your opinion on the film. But again, I want to make sure I give you that precaution sign, which is that it will pull on a lot of spiritual strings. But our spiritual strings are being pulled in real life. And I can't afford to lose our youth. And I need y'all to know the next generation belongs to those who want them more, and I want them more. So I want y'all to go see the film. Let me know what y'all think about it. And I look forward to the ongoing conversation. If I know some of y'all didn't see it, and maybe through this video, I encourage you to go see it. But I look forward to the conversation and dialogue that we have. All right, y'all.